Joining us now, the daughter of the late, great Senator John McCain. She is, of course, Meghan McCain, and joins us for Mondays with Meghan. Hi, Meghan. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Peachy.
Well, we're talking about the death
Thanks for having me.
Talking about the death of the Pope today.
Yeah.
What do you think the role of the Pope should be in politics?
Yeah, the Pope Francis really pushed the boundaries of that, I think, for a lot of people. One of the things that I thought before I woke up this morning and read that he had passed was how uncomfortable his meeting with J.D. Vance must have been, because they had fought many times publicly, or at least Vice President Vance had come out publicly many times sort of disparaging a lot of things that I think he thought were too liberal, too woke, too progressive for the place of the Catholic Church. He's a very divisive pope. There are people that, think he's the most, like my old co-host Whoopi Goldberg, is obsessed with him, was obsessed with him. I think is extremely sad today. She put out a statement. And then there are other people who are sort of like devout, more traditional, more dogmatic Catholics who thought that he was, pushing the boundaries maybe too much out of their comfort zone. But I think no matter what, he was obviously, you don't become Pope unless you're a good person and you're filled with kindness and, can lead the kind of, coalition of Catholics that you have to assume that role. But, it's sad. I'm always sad when a Pope dies.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about this Pope and is, when you talk about same-sex couples, or you talk about, gay Catholics, or you talk about transgender people, this was a Pope that said he loves everyone. And that's what God has asked us to do. Love God, love everyone, love people. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what sin or what they've done in their life. They're people. And I think that this Pope loved all people, and it didn't matter their sexuality. It didn't matter if they wanted to be a boy. It didn't matter if they were black or white or what have you.
But I would say this, even if others believe that in some way, shape, or form, they were maybe a little more hesitant to kind of wade into the political arena. And Pope Francis seemed a little less afraid of that.
Yeah.
All right. Meghan, again, we're talking to Meghan McCain right now. Mondays with Meghan. Is Pete Hegseth on thin ice? Are they looking at the Department of Defense and saying, what the heck is this guy doing?
So what happened? He did it again? He was on Signal chat, and he shared details of a Yemen strike with his brother, his mother, and his
wife, yeah.
Who of us haven't?
Once was bad enough. Twice, come on.
Well, also, it's obviously, I have many things to say about this. First and foremost, if you barely got by like Pete Hegseth did, and we all remember his extremely contentious confirmation hearing, and I just need to candidly say I know Pete. I worked with him for a very long time at Fox News. We are personal friends. I think he's a very nice family man. He was not my first choice for Secretary of Defense. I believe I said that on the show. I will say it again. I like him, just didn't have the kind of military experience and background I was comfortable with for someone leading, all our military forces. So I didn't understand why he's not just completely walking the straight and narrow and following every rule completely by the book. I mean, messing around with Signal, which we all know can be hacked. It just happened. The last Signal chain was just hacked with this kind of serious information. I mean, it's almost like it's completely mind-blowing. And I saw an interview with him today at the White House Easter egg roll, and he was not just doubling, but he was tripling down, saying this is a deep state conspiracy. It's the left trying to take me out. And look, I have my issues with the New York Times as much as any other conservative person on the planet, but that's not what's happening here. And also, you can't call things the deep state when you are the deep state now.
Well, it was either him or Trump said something about, anonymous sources. These aren't anonymous. They're on the record saying, here's what's going on. This whole idea that it's somehow, a bunch. And apparently the people that were just fired are ones that he hired just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like his chief of staff or something that gave that interview to Politico. And again, that's very suspect too. And they're having a intense leaking problem at the Pentagon right now. And, there's obviously the second or third large controversy. I mean, we haven't even been in office 100 days. I still don't know if his he should be worried or not, because I do know that Trump really likes him. I know that they're close friends. So I would find it hard to think that they're going to kick him out right now, but maybe talk to me again in July after a few news cycles. I don't know if I think he's going to last the full year, but I don't think he's out right now.
Meghan McCain is joining us Mondays with Meghan. Let's go to a little bit of local politics.
Oh, here we go.
So this was pretty interesting. So remember when Trump endorsed Karen Taylor Robson for governor?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
she said, there's a little pre-laugh going on. No, wait for the punch here, Meghan.
So then Congressman Andy Biggs has jumped into the race. Mm-hmm. And today, Trump also endorsed Andy Biggs.
Yeah, endorsing both of them.
Can you gotta pick. You can't just endorse two people.
Whoever's running, I endorse.
He did this again. He did this before. He did this in the congressional race with Abe Froman
and
Abe sorry.
Why am I blanking on the
guy who ran for
Peter
Senate?
Thiel acolyte?
Blake
Masters. Yes.
Have you ever heard of anybody endorsing two people going for the same job?
No, and also, this isn't over yet. We don't know who else might throw their hat in the race. I mean, Arizona's an interesting state filled with a lot of interesting politicians.
You're being kind.
Look, I ride so hard for Arizona. You know how much I love Arizona.
Yes.
And one of the things I love the most about Arizona is elections cannot be bought, and they also endorsements that are extremely impactful other places just don't have the same worth that they do in any other state. And that includes President Trump, as he is the president of the United States. But unfortunately for President Trump, as it has shown before, which is why we don't have Senator Carrie Lake
or Governor Carrie Lake,
or Governor Carrie Lake, or Dogcatcher Carrie Lake, or anything Carrie Lake ever. But these things can't be bought. And I kind of think he's just covering his, where he's like, I endorse them. They won. I endorse them too. And I would never, ever pretend to assume how Arizonans are going to vote. So many independent voters, so many libertarians, center left, center right, true people who are not just going to go with the party line one way or the other. And, quite frankly, I'm not impressed with either of those candidates.
Yeah.
No, and again, my deep condolences to Congressman Biggs. I understand that he lost a child, which is obviously horrific.
Daughter passed away last week, yes, of cancer. Yes, our condolences.
Horrific.
Meghan McCain is joining us. I thought the interesting thing, and I like Karen Taylor Robson. I voted for Karen Taylor Robson. I think that she would be a good governor. Here's the thing, though. How do you react after President Trump says, by the way, I'm also going to endorse your opponent? And so her reaction on Twitter was, thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Well, what else can she say?
Nothing. Don't say anything, because you know you're not happy. This is BS. You know you're not happy. You wanted the endorsement. It's a huge endorsement.
And we don't. What did she have to do to get that endorsement?
I have no idea.
Yeah, neither do I. But it was something.
When somebody says, I'm for you, and I'm also for the other guy.
That was some good shade, Bruce, by the way.
Saying.
I caught that.
Just saying.
If he's for me, wait, now you're for him and me. And now I'm thanking you on Twitter. No, that's not what you do.
It's so debasing. And again, I'm not endorsing or not endorsing whatever. The race isn't even there yet. And I don't know, Mrs. Robeson, and I'm sure she's a nice person personally. Although I don't currently live in Arizona, as I'm working on coming back, and I'm in D.C., I want Arizona to be represented by the legacy of Arizonans that have basically held power in the governorship and in the Senate and in Congress since the state's incarnation 100 years ago. And we're talking about Rose Mofford.
Yeah.
There's so many people that are just these strong historical figures that have really done incredible things for the state, not only on a, for the state itself, but on a national level as well. And I'm not seeing it yet, but I don't live in Arizona right now, so maybe you guys have interviewed her and you see. What I remember is her doing an interview where she was asked if the election was stolen, and her answer was it wasn't fair. And my thing in life, in politics in general, the people I gravitate to is tell me what you really think, even if I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's why I respect AOC. I don't agree with anything she says, but she's telling me the truth, and she's telling me some hard truth. And I think the tricky part is when you're trying to placate all these people and you're trying to placate the McCain voters in Arizona and the MAGA people. Let me tell you, honey, it's not going to work. You got to pick a lane, and you got to pick one, and you got to roll the dice, which is what we all do in politics. And just from what I've seen from a 64,000 vantage point, I am not on the ground there.
Yeah.
I just think she could be a much stronger candidate. And, maybe she just hasn't really started running yet. And again, the fact that you like her, Gaydos, says a lot, but I would love to see more. And that reaction to me, like if I'm not being endorsed by someone, if I'm endorsed by someone and then someone says, actually, I'm endorsing your opponent, I'd be like, you're wrong. And I'm going to show you why you're wrong. You're making a huge mistake.
She's made a hard turn to the MAGA side to grab.
And that's fine.
I know.
It's understandable.
I don't love that.
No, it's the reality.
Right. But I'm hoping she comes back to where she was, when she lost to Carrie Lake. I'm hoping she comes back to that. I liked that candidate. This, thank you, Mr. President, you're the best. Hey, I'm kind of MAGA now, is not for me. Republican, I'm fine with.
Well, I also think that I understand because, we all have to live together, all factions and coalitions in the Republican Party. And I think if you're running for any office and you respect and understand the populist movement and the power of the MAGA movement, that's fine. And you can say that. But you can also say, I don't agree with some of that. Like, I just criticize Pete Hegseth, who's my friend. And you know what? I'm going to wake up in the morning and life's going to go on and I'll still be friends with him.
Yeah.
It's fine to have a little backbone and actually say what you feel. And I think what's been interesting for me to watch the last few election cycles in Arizona is the blueprint of going hyper MAGA. It just doesn't work in governor and Senate. It may work in Congress. It doesn't. These aren't these kind of voters. These aren't these kind of people. I always try and explain to people, Arizona's hot. You have to, go through a lot to, live there in the summer. These are completely independent people.
Right.
You can't just, this isn't a soft group of people. They want you to get in front of them and tell them who you are. And I just feel like if she may win anyway because I don't know enough about, Andy Biggs as a candidate. I don't know enough about anything else, but I do know Trump people, and I would wager so far as I know Trump a little bit. And I think what he responds to is backbone and, asserting yourself, at least Trump 2.0, MAGA 2.0 incarnation. And that's everything that look at his cabinet. He's filled with, his vice president used to call him Hitler.
Right. That's true. All right, Mondays.
I cut that shade, by the way.
Mondays with Meghan. Meghan McCain, thanks for joining us as always.
I hope I don't blow any future interviews with you.
Not in the slightest. Thank you so much.
See you next week.
Thank you, guys. See you next week. Bye.
You got it.
Meghan McCain, every Monday at 5.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.